What up, y'all? The question today that I want to answer is, does the narcissist miss you? My answer to that is yes, but maybe not right away. The narcissist, once they've been through a cycle with you, if you're grade A supply, they're going to, of course, go through the love bomb, devalue, and discard. And they'll, of course, have a secondary supply that they're going to monkey branch to, of course, right? This is their part of their disorder, okay? And they're going to feel great about it, okay? For a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, maybe a little longer. Not much. After that 2 to 3 weeks, they're going to start thinking about you. And this is where, you want to go no contact, right? Because the first few times this occurred between you and the narcissist, you really had no idea what was going on, for one, because we're used to dealing with people without disorders, right? Secondly, they had instilled this trauma bond in you without your knowledge, and got you heavily invested, speaking love and marriage within just a matter of weeks, right? Because they move quickly, fast, because that mask is going to slip, right? So they have to operate this way, and they love to operate this way. And to be honest with you, they actually believe it. When they're in the love bomb phase, they actually believe it, that they have met their soulmate, they have met the one, but they also know their track record and their history, and so that's what haunts them through it all. So that's where they do feel that way, that you are the one, but what they also know, and what disrupts that is their history. Their history has been that this has happened to them before, and they self-sabotaged it, just as they did you with them. And so they know in anticipation that this is going to prevail. It's going to occur at some point, but nevertheless, in the beginning, during the first cycle, they do believe that you are their saving grace. And so they're in some places of their mind and heart, they do have some humanity, and this is the part of them that's that's still there, maybe, but nevertheless, what ends up happening at some point, this evil side to them is going to ramp up, and they're not going to be able to control it. So this is, I think, where you toil with the narcissist, because what you do is you end up seeing two sides. You see the side of their childlike humanity side that's sincere, and then you're dealing with the entanglement with their essence and the essence of the enemy within them. And from looking into things and experiencing it myself, I feel like that's where you get this, like, what they call fractionation in your mind. to where, you know, you're kind of thinking along two pathways, and, you know, continually thinking about the good person, the bad person, the good person, the bad person, the one that loves me, the one that hates me, the one that, you know, the fake one, the real one, and trying to understand, you know, the meaning of each, and, you know, what's going on, and the war inside. Because in my humble opinion, I feel that I have seen the, you know, by seeing these two individuals, that I've seen, you see the battle to some extent, but it's so intertwined in their personality, their mind, will, and emotions, and their personality, that it's overtaken them. And what happens is yes, you can see the innocent individual, but you also see the dark, devious individual that's out to destroy you. And what happens is they are coinciding together in that one entity, in that avatar. And so it kind of makes me think of the scripture of you know, what it would be like to be a double-minded man is he's unsteady, or in all of his ways. You can't be double-minded. And when you're dealing with the narcissist, it causes you to become split and double-minded and fractionate, to where you don't know which way's up and which way's down, and what's going to happen today. And a lot of times we will discard the narcissist at some point, because we've had enough. And then, you know, that trauma bond will kick in, and they'll come around after, you know, doing whatever they've done with their other supply, and hoover us back. And that's when we'll be kind of fiending for them at that point. You know, the first few weeks, first month or so, you know, it's like, it's not so bad, because you've been attacked so hard by these individuals that, you know, you need a break. You need a break to heal. And they know that. And, you know, the fact of the matter is I think that they, like, you know, blame you in a certain sort of way, to where it's like, oh, you know, now that I got rid of you, I'm gonna be happy. You know, it was all your fault, you know, because they blame a lot. They always blame, right? So, and so, yes, early in the discard, they're excited, they're happy, and you're in recovery mode. But, you know, after about a month or so, and they're with some other supply, there's, you know, they're going to start thinking about you, because you are the empath. And a lot of times they're not getting individuals to the level that you are, to that grade A supply. And so, you know, then if you don't reach out to them like you did in cycle 1 and cycle 2, you know, at this point, you've kind of, if you've caught on to them, you know, then you just play the silent treatment right back to them, because a lot of times they would play it to you. They don't like the silent treatment, because to them, it's like, it can cause an injury to them, because, you know, you're, it's like, if you did something wrong to the narcissist, that's how they get you back. That's how the silent treatment is how you pay for your mistake, the way you acted to the narcissist. And that's the way they view it. We view it sometimes a little differently. So silent treatment, they're so used to utmost control that it will start to ruminate in them. And that's why what you get is the stalking and the hovering, you know, because when they start stalking you, they're kind of, you know, getting enticed, and they're starting to re-idolize you then, and be like, oh, you know, missing that person. That's the only reason, you know, that they stalk you. They stalk you because they're missing you already. But a lot of times they don't know how to get you back, and you know, they make messes for themselves. They also don't want to disrupt the situation if they know that they're going to get turned down. So they may stay away even longer. Eventually they'll come back, but a lot of times what happens is the empath will hoover themselves back, just as they sometimes will discard themselves because they're like, oh my God, you treat me like crap again. I ain't taking no more of this. And then, you know, later on, so they start to ruminate over you because they're used to that utmost control, and they don't have it anymore. So they don't know what you're thinking. They don't know what you're doing. They don't know where you're going and who you're seeing. And they don't know what's going on in your life. And, you know, the longer you're away from them, you're starting to look better. You know, you're starting to feel better because they are constantly a black hole that is pulling and tugging and draining on your soul. And, you know, when I talked about how we repel each other, when it comes to an individual that is highly empathic and a good human being, and then they're in a relationship with a narcissist who is, you know, lying 80% of the time, cheating 80%, you know, like, you know, not so much good stuff, right? That person is always going to be draining you. You as the empath, you as the better person in a couple that is a good nature person with a negative energy person. The negative energy person is always going to win. Always, hands down. It's like the natural order of things. You can't, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like gravity is, I kind of look at, I was thinking about this yesterday, and it was like gravity is always pulling down. So it's easier for an individual with gravity to lay down than it's harder to stand up. It's easier for somebody that's laying on the ground to pull a person down to the ground than for a person standing up to pull them up. And, you know, with the negative and the positive individual, the positive individual has got to create energy constantly, and the negative individual is like a black hole that's just always sucking energy. And you know, typically when people talk in space about black holes, they always say that the black hole just continues to increase and get larger and larger and larger and eat up more space. And so just as the, you know, the black hole in space would work, the black hole in the relationship is going to work the exact same way. But yes, they will increasingly, the longer that you're away from them, they will increasingly start to ruminate, start to hover, start to stalk, and then they will start to inquire. And the inquire will come from, you know, different ways. Could be a simple call, a hello, if they can get through to you. If they can't get through to you, of course, the flying monkeys are coming, you know, or a note or something like that. But yeah, typically I've gotten hoovered a lot through the flying monkeys. they know exactly who to send, when to send them. I mean, they get these people, you know, they get on a conversation between another individual that's a flying monkey in a private setting. And you're like, oh, I miss that person, but you know, he's got some issues, and I really, really want to marry that person, be with that person. And you know, they'll talk you up around that flying monkey to the point to where, but you know, I can't, you know, reach out to him. You know, like they're too bashful, whatever. You know, because the flying monkeys, you know, there's quite a few of them that believe the false mask and the false self completely. So that flying monkey is going to walk away, and they're going to feel like, I have to go see this man and put these two back together. And they typically have a person around them that is like a matchmaker, and they know to go to the matchmaker, because what does a matchmaker do? They're always trying to match people up in love. So if they tell them a story like that, do you think that the narcissist doesn't know what they're doing? Do you think they don't know? Of course they know. They know exactly what's going to happen. That flying monkey's going to see you soon, or reach out to you, and they're going to explain that whole sit down that they had in that private setting about how that narcissist has been missing you and telling them how much they love you and can't live without you. And they can hoover you like that. You know, it's just good to know these things, because these are tactics that you're going to have to face when you're walking away from the narcissist. And when you're walking away from the narcissist, will they miss you? Yeah, they're going to miss you. But you know, a lot of people talk, you know, they're not going to miss you like you want them to miss you. And that's the sad part. They're going to miss you. Like, you know, of course, right? What they did for you. Or what you did for them. How you supplied them. How you made them feel. But at the end of the day, you know, all relationships end with narcissists. It's just a matter of time. And all relationships with narcissists are built on abuse and brutality. And the shame in all of it is where you came into the relationship and how you felt and what you thought you were dealing with, and then to turn around and find out that you've been spun and the whole situation about this other individual is spun as well. And it's like they, you know, for a while turn you out, man, you know. And yeah, that's hard to let go of, you know, especially because the enemy knows what you like, man, and they know what to, he knows what to send, man. And but the glorious and good thing is that you will only have to deal with this one last time if you're this far. If you're watching these videos, you already know, you know the game. So once you finish this one, at least you know you're not ever going to walk into another one, because a lot of us have been in 2 or 3 of these, you know, 4 of these, 5 of these, some short term, some long term, some family. So just know at least that there's an end point to this. And a lot of times it's time, man, time. And you know, getting getting that trauma bond broke, man. But that's all. They're gonna miss you. They may miss you to a point to where they never meet another person to the level that you are, to the level of empathy, the way you treated them, the way you put them first, the money you spent on them, the time, the quality of time, the quality of the relationship and the love that you invested in them. They probably will never meet a person to that level again, because just like they seduced you, they also bring out the most extreme love out of you, because that seduction. So they're in a fairy tale and they dragged you into it. And so they're using their fairy tale evil parts, right, to seduce you. But they look good initially, you know. It's sexy. They got swag. They, you know, can turn you on. You know, anything you could ever imagine. You know, they kind of present it like it can happen with them, right? With that, it causes you to, in that fairy tale, to give them everything you got, man. A lot of people are not gonna be seduced to that experience that they invest in, because a lot of people, it takes partly growing up a certain way that you were brought up and what you came out of in your family. You were supposed to turn out evil, right? Growing up under the supervision that you grew up under. But because you were the chosen one, you didn't break to that. So because you didn't break to that, you're already a glitch in the matrix. And so when you meet the narcissist, they know your qualities, but even they are amazed at how much further and how much more the quality was. And they know what they lose. They also know that there's nothing they could do about it, because they have to operate in the disorder that they're living with to regulate. And because they chose the dark side, this is part of their wicked karma. You want to know what their karma is? Part of it is losing you. Just the fact of losing you. Because deep down inside, they don't want to act like that to lose you. Sometimes it makes you wonder, like, if they would have met you as empathic as you are before they started all this, you know, they would have never given themselves up. But in the beginning, all these other individuals that they met, it didn't bother them, because they're not as real as you. They're not as loving and as kind as you. They don't have what you have. And they didn't get it until they met you. And you're the glitch, because you were supposed to grow up corrupt in that family and you didn't. And they probably will never get that experience again. And that's why they mimic your twin flame, so much that you actually believe it. for a while. Because you think they're your twin flame, although you kind of know that they're not because of all the stuff going around, you know, all the craziness. But they do mimic it. And they mimic it because they believe this is them. They believe it. I think they believe that they are your twin flame, truly. And you know that they're the imposter, unfortunately. But the thing with the narcissists a lot of times is we want to wish, you know, we want to wish this relationship the way we want it to go. And to do that is to force it. And to do that is to be rationalizing, to not looking at it for what it is. You can't wish a person a certain way. You can't wish a relationship a certain way because of the way you feel. You can't make it happen. You can't force it. You can't force nature. And you can't force evil to be good. And you can't force facts. The fact of the matter is have you seen any of these guys recover? No, but they will miss you. And as soon as you lay off them, like for real, like for a long time, you'll start to understand how much they miss you. But the thing is you have got to keep moving forward. As hard as it is, it will resolve itself. It is a test. And it's a very hard test. But you have to walk through it. And you can't give in to your wishful thinking, your rationalization, and the mediocre life that you will end up in. Because you know what you will incur. Much of the same and much, much more the longer you're in these relationships. So yes, they will miss you. You're the golden X. You're the most amazing one. They just can't control themselves. So they gotta flip-flop and come back. Flip-flop and come back. You know, monkey branch. They have to emotionally regulate, man, and they gotta drain. And they can't give you anything. If they had their soul, they can give you it back. And that's how you know that one of two things is going on. Like I said, they're either a while back, they're definitely possessed, because I've seen the spirits. I've experienced so much of the demonic nature of them. But one, they either have a demonic spirit, they have demonic entities that can be cast out, exorcised, delivered, and that would be the way they can get healing. Outside of that, absolutely nothing. They've sold their soul. That's it. Those are the two answers to that, the two pathways that ever could possibly happen for these people. Or those are the two roads. Most likely, though, the longer that you understand this type of stuff, this cluster B stuff, you're going to find that they probably have, in fact, have given their souls up, and not to ever get it back. They're so intertwined with these demonic entities that they don't even know themselves anymore, and that's a problem. It's a problem with getting help when you have no entity outside these demonic entities. There's no two things in there, but kind of like an intertwined thing that has vined together and spliced and grew together. They're so corrupted at this point, probably, that there is no hope for them. But you have to keep moving on. Anyway, peace out. So, love y'all.